Heartbreaking, tough loss for the Texans. Who are we blaming it on? The refs, the players, and where do they go from here? Let's go inside the locker room, another live post-game show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city.
Tough one right there.
Got the game
Tough
in the
one. That's a heartbreaker.
Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too plugged in.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. It is another Texans post-game show. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from CJ Stroud. We'll hear from you as well. Texans fall to the Jags 24-21. A lot to get into here. A lot of people upset with the refs. Should they be? A lot of people upset with certain players. Should they be? CJ Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence. Who got the best of that? Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. It is the number one source for Texans digital content. So my biggest takeaways here, I have a couple of big takeaways, and that's what we'll start with before we recap what went on with this game. Be sure to get your comments in, etc. I know a lot of Jags fans are having a good time. Good for them. Already seeing like 50 reasons why the Texans lost, 50 different reasons. But for me, this just came down to the Texans' inability to take advantage of opportunities and the Jags' ability to take advantage of opportunities. Like, we can sit here and have a pissing match about the refs, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But the reality is the refs were bad for everyone, and I think perhaps the most significant call that was made went in the Texans' favor, and they were actually able to take advantage of it. And that was the Jalen Petrie grab that resulted in the Derek Stingley interception. So the officiating wasn't good, but it was bad on both ends, and Jacksonville was able to take advantage of the situation. As far as the Tavier Thomas penalties, I thought those were penalties. I thought he was getting kind of cooked. Tavier Thomas was. So I didn't think that those were necessarily the worst calls. The Steven Nelson one, that was a rough one. That was a really rough penalty. And quite frankly, that ended up costing the Texans an opportunity to immediately get the rock back down one possession. I also think that this was perhaps the most unorganized that DeMeco Ryans' team has looked. And I think when you really dive into it, I don't know that it's really his fault. In certain areas, I think it's kind of a group thing, but you had a situation where you had to burn the timeout because of an offensive substitution, which, by the way, I know that analytics is kind of a thing. I don't understand why a 5-yard penalty is worth a timeout in a close game like this. Like, we saw CJ Stroud convert multiple, and we see it all the time, convert multiple third down and longs or second down and long. I don't understand why a timeout in that situation on 1st and 10 from, I think it was the 13-yard line. I don't know why 5 yards is worth that. Like, would you trade 5 yards of penalty yards for a timeout? I don't know why more coaches don't look at things that way. But I with all the analytics, and we see jackass coaches going forward on 4th and 7 in their own territory, and we see all this type of stuff with how valuable timeouts are at the end of games. Is 5 yards worth taking a timeout for, especially when you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud? For whatever reason it was, and they killed that timeout. Then they had to kill a timeout on special teams because they had 12 men on the field. So you're already burning 2 timeouts. You're only going to have 1 timeout. So it's all or nothing for you. And for the first time we saw DeMeco Ryans' team unorganized and not ready to go when they needed him the most. Now, is that DeMeco's fault? No, I mean, it could be Frank Ross's. It could be Bobby Slowik's. Could be a team effort, but he's the overseer. But this was the most disorganized this team has looked in the DeMeco Ryans era. Sticking on coaching, and we'll get into specific players. By the way, I just got back from Panama City, so I'm on the juice. But Bobby Slowik, this is really confusing for me. And this is, I like Bobby Slowik. I think Bobby Slowik gets in his bags. I think Bobby Slowik does his thing. A lot of y'all focused on refs. I'm not as focused on refs. They called it crappy on both sides. Texans got the biggest break with Petrie. By the way, that's the only play Petrie I think has made this year, the no call. So that led to a turnover. I think that's the first time he's been involved in forcing a turnover this year. So shout out to him. But Bobby Slowik, I want to get to Bobby Slowik. Shout out to T. Hard to win when you get two stops and they call bad PIs on both. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that. Appreciate you though. Regardless, this is the problem I had with Bobby Slowik. Okay, I know that the Jags have a top 5 rushing defense in the entire NFL. I know this. But does that mean that Devin Singletary, with what he's done the last 2 weeks, gets 6 carries in a close game? 6 carries is what Devin Singletary got today. Furthermore, Dameon Pierce, who we already have established might not be a system fit and damn sure isn't running the ball as well as Devin Singletary. Dameon Pierce gets 5 carries. So the carry load is 54% Singletary, 45% from the running back position, 45% Dameon Pierce. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The guy's had over 100 yards the last 2 weeks. The guy, Devin Singletary, had 150 2 weeks ago. He was AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He follows that up with another bill. Dameon Pierce comes back and he gets 1 less carry. So we're back to that? The hell is that? How does that happen? Furthermore, you have the ball on 3rd and 1, you throw it, and then you throw it again on 4th and 1. What are we doing? I mean, I understand that Jacksonville stops the run at a much higher level than the last 2 teams that you've beaten. But that's where we're at? Yes, the 4th and short against the Bengals, he goes for the pass, and then today on 3rd and 4th, you throw it. I don't understand that. I don't understand like how Devin Singletary goes from doing what he did the last 2 weeks to, hey, here's 6 carries. We're going to give Dameon Pierce 5. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what Bobby Slowik was doing today. CJ Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence. Now, if you are someone who just looked at the box score and you see that Trevor Lawrence had 364 yards and his rating was 90.2, although CJ's was 116, you might say, well, he kind of went toe-to-toe with CJ Stroud. That quarterback matchup's not close. This was good for Trevor Lawrence. I thought it was kind of fitting that Trevor Lawrence, I think he had 4 passes for over 40 yards. One of them was a screen that 99% of the people in here could have made the throw. Another one was a dump off to a tight end, which probably 72% of the people in here could have made the throw. He had the really good throw to Kirk that resulted in them getting to the 1 yard line with 1 second left in the second quarter. And then he had another decent throw. But he wasn't sacked at all today. He had all day. CJ Stroud was having to move around. CJ Stroud was having to make plays. CJ Stroud was sacked 4 times. A couple of them you could say it was his fault, but he was having to hold the ball, extend plays. I mean, he was making plays that very few quarterbacks could make. The quarterback matchup is not close. Like CJ Stroud outplayed Trevor Lawrence today. I know he ended up taking the L, but Jacksonville's invested a lot in their wide receivers. And quite frankly, the best player on the field today, I would say, was maybe Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 2.5 sacks for the Jags, including big ones late. Perhaps the one that took the Texans out of field goal range. Josh Allen was a monster today. 2.5 sacks for him. Walker walked into one with Allen. Basically got to keep the change on that. Texans, on the other hand, didn't get a single sack. So the difference in this game, the Jags, I think Josh Allen being the best player on the field. But as far as the quarterback situation, that's not close. I thought it was appropriate and fitting that Derek Carr was that Trevor Lawrence was the first quarterback since Derek Carr to complete 4 40-yard passes, because I think that's appropriate company for him. I think that's appropriate company for him, for sure. But CJ Stroud was the better quarterback. HTX Texans says Landry's just a DP hater, man. They had similar stats. Singletary is inferior. Last 2 games have been fluke against worst run defenses in the NFL, minus the last 2 weeks. Singletary's been the same. So you're taking away his 150-yard game and his 100-yard game and acting like you're saying something? That's fair. Minus the last 2 games where he started becoming the feature back. Let's take that away. That seems rational. I'm not a DP hater at all. I like Dameon Pierce. Talk to him. I don't think that the carry share should be 6.5 with those 2. But yeah, let's take away his Offensive Player of the Week award, and let's take away his 100-yard game, and then let's say they're the same. That makes sense. Lord. Very well said, man. If you're okay with Singletary getting 6 carries, we just disagree. It seemed like he kind of got demoted because Dameon Pierce came back. That doesn't make sense to me at all. That doesn't make sense to me. So there's no DP hate at all. I like what Devin Singletary has done. I think Dameon Pierce is a finisher. The officiating. I thought the officiating canceled out. Now, the Thomas penalties, those are being argued. I thought he was out of position. The Steven Nelson on Ridley, which would have been a 3 and out, that was trash. That was an awful call. That was probably one of the worst calls of the day, behind the Petrie grab that led to the Stingley INT. But I would say the officiating was bad all the way around. I don't know, I'm sure if you're a Texans fan, you feel like you got screwed. If you're a Jags fan, you probably feel like you got screwed as well. But I thought the officiating was just bad all the way around. The tank, I think it was originally called what it was called, which was weird because the ref kind of sprinted full speed over there. And I think it was the ref that was throwing all the penalties, and he really wanted to make that call. So I just think they gave the tie to the initial call. But who knows? But the officiating, yes, it was bad. The game management, we've already touched on that. I thought it was very bad in game management in multiple phases, specifically on offense, the fact that you had the substitution penalty where you had to kill a timeout, and then on special teams, you get a big stop and all of a sudden there's 12 guys on the field. I mean, you could have used those timeouts. So I thought that was messy. The big question at the end of the game, and I would have gone for it. Should DeMeco have gone for it instead of kicking it at the end of the game? Now, I know it was close, but you know why we're celebrating why it was so close? Because it was such a long shot. Amendola's never made a field goal over 50 yards. Which do you have more confidence in? Do you have more confidence in CJ Stroud converting a 4th and 12 and then getting it closer for Amendola? Or do you have confidence in Amendola kicking a 58-yarder? I know you can say that it's close. For me there, I would have gone for it. For sure. Charles says I have bad takes today. Tony Reale, which takes are you focusing on? Which ones? I'll give you the PTI, whatever the beep thing, and you can be the beeper. I want to know what's the take, Charles, that you disagree with. But I would have gone for it with CJ. But hey, DeMeco will speak about that. We'll hear what DeMeco has to say in a sec. We'll also hear from CJ Stroud. It is the Locker Room post-game show here on YouTube. I thought Thomas was interfering. I didn't think those were terrible calls. I think he's been getting cooked a lot this year. Honestly, I didn't look at those as like terrible calls. I thought the Nelson was bad. Maybe the second Thomas, the first Thomas, I thought was a penalty for sure. I like H. Keller. I don't blame the refs on this one either. Fairbairn has to be out 4 weeks, so we'll get a good idea of when he is coming back. Gray's talking about the O-line. I don't know what to think of this O-line. I don't know what to think about this O-line. Not great. And I know we're talking about the kicker. I actually thought Peterson made a mistake at the end of the first half for not just kicking the field goal. Because you already knew the Texans didn't have a kicker. You were up 6. So you go up 9. You're getting the rock back. I thought Peterson actually kind of made a mistake by not kicking the field goal there. That's what I would have. That's what I would have thought. Also, look like if we're talking referees, and it seems like a lot of people want to talk about referees. I thought CJ Stroud got horse collared at the end. Did they not? Is that not a rule anymore? I know I'm not trying to be the beg for calls guy, but I thought that Allen sack, I kind of thought he grabbed him by the horse collar there, which they didn't even mention on the broadcast. By the way, Matt Ryan sucks. He sucks. I thought for sure that Matt Ryan would be a decent broadcaster. I see why they need 3 guys for him. He is awful. I want to say he is probably behind current Tony Romo. He is probably the worst analyst in the entire game. Matt Ryan, he sucks. Tiki could have done that himself. I don't know what Drew Brees is doing. I haven't really seen a lot of Drew Brees. But Matt Ryan's bad. He's really, really bad. And I didn't think Tiki was terrible. I just thought it was kind of weird that they needed 3 guys there for the whole thing. I thought that was a little bit strange. Let's relive the game, the big plays, etc. Keep the comments coming in. We'll hear from DeMeco in a sec. We'll hear what CJ has to say following the L. But early on, the Jags took a 3-0 lead on the opening drive. They had a 3rd and 11 conversion, which I didn't know how rare this was, but I guess before that 3rd and long conversion, they were 3 for 41 on 3rd and 4th and 8+ this year, which seems crazy. I don't have the numbers. I don't know, what to compare that to, but 3 for 41 on 3rd and 8+. I don't know about y'all, but when I'm watching this Texan squad, I just kind of feel like 3rd and 8, you got a shot. But they move the chains. They settle for 3. Then a big moment for them, and I'm sure this is something that they're going to be talking about. Someone says Romo is great. He was. He's gotten worse. He was the best when he was early on. Now he's one of the worst. Cam Robinson went down On the Jags' second drive, you could kind of see him on the sidelines, kind of felt for him. I would be shocked if that's not serious. That might be something to keep an eye on moving forward for the Jags as they look to kind of run away with the division. But you had Cam Robinson go down, then kind of some frustration for the Texans. And I don't know if CBS is just a little bit slow or if y'all notice this at all. But Tank Dell gets a 58-yard reception. It gets taken away by a penalty. I'm not even disagreeing with the penalty. I just thought it was kind of weird that they didn't even acknowledge it for probably like a minute. Like it was literally a minute where they didn't even acknowledge it. And I think they even showed the replay. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, there's a penalty. I thought maybe it was an unsportsmanlike or something like that they acknowledged it so late. And I would say this is just a one-time thing, but I think every time I watch a CBS game, the replays are late. The penalties are acknowledged late. I don't know if they're doing something different with their camera work. I don't know what's going on, but CBS was struggling there. And also on that play, you had Titus Howard go down. He ended up getting carted off, and you had the debut of Juice Scruggs, who came in, and I don't know how to assess how well he did or didn't do. I don't think the offensive line got like significantly worse. He wasn't sticking out a ton. But yeah, I thought it was just weird how late that penalty was acknowledged. Then you had the Jags take the 10-0 lead. You had the Johnson reception. I think it was for 43 yards where Trevor Lawrence just dumped it down to him. Man, it must be nice to have multiple running backs that can make plays. The Jags definitely do have that. Then you had the third down penalty in the end zone, and that put it on the 1 yard line. Jags took a 10-0 lead. Then you had Texans response, which has been kind of a consistent theme all year. Stroud to Dell make it 10-7. You had Woods move the chain. You had Singletary on the screen. He took it down there, and the Texans made it 10-7. Travis Etienne left briefly with a chest injury. You wondered if he was going to be back. He made his way back. They really actually did a decent job of keeping him in check, keeping Etienne in check. And then a big play. I think the Texans, they actually benefited from this, and this has kind of been weird. The first half of Jags-Texans matchups this year have not been kind to Calvin Ridley. He's been pretty awful. The last time they played, I think he had 2 drops. I think he even had like a false start at one point that made him have to punt at one point. Trevor Lawrence, maybe his best throw of the day, he threw what should have been a touchdown to Ridley. However, Ridley unable to take advantage of it. And instead of it being 17-7, it ends up being 13-7 after a McManus field goal. But a big drop by Calvin Ridley. And then the Texans, they look to go steal some points at the end of the half. Amendola misses a 50-yard attempt. And we would see him again kicking another 50-plus yarder. He misses the 50-yard attempt, and then the Jags get down to the 1 yard line. Thomas continuing to kind of get a little bit cooked. Good hustle though. He chases Kirk out of bounds. I thought it was closer to the 2. They put it at the 1, and then they tried to run it on the outside with Travis Etienne, Desmond King, Cashman, and others in on the stop, and you kind of feel like the Texans have a little bit of momentum heading into the half. And then the Texans get a break. You know, we're talking a lot about the officiating and all that. Texans get a little bit of a break, and they get away with a penalty on Petrie. Petrie grabs the receiver, Stingley, with the good ball skills. I think it's his 3rd career interception, 2nd in 2 weeks. Stingley gets the pick. And then the Texans take advantage of the opportunity. CJ Stroud with a little bootleg, 3rd and 1 bootleg. Then he does the baby boy celebration. The Texans take the 14-13 lead after the bad call, take advantage. However, there'd be more controversy from the refs a little bit later on. But I thought that was a really good drive for the Texans and for Bobby Slowik. Then we get the really, really suspect holding call on Steven Nelson. We get the Tavier Thomas penalties, and the Jags take the 21-14 lead after the 2-point conversion. And then this is where Bobby Slowik, I don't know what the hell he was doing here, but on 3rd and 4th and 1, the Texans throw the rock. They don't attempt to run the ball at all. The deep play to Dalton Schultz, the pass play before that, and that's where you're kind of hoping, you got to keep them out of the end zone, or else this game's over. And the Texans not only keep them out of the end zone, they forced the Jags to attempt a 55-yarder, which I thought it was interesting that even Peterson did that. They kicked the 55-yarder. Now, McManus is obviously a better kicker than Amendola, but if you miss that 55-yarder, you're giving the Texans life near midfield with 7:05 remaining. You punt them down in their own territory. They're gonna have to score twice with 7 minutes remaining. They've also already burned the timeout. But the Jags missed the 55-yarder. It gives the Texans life with 7:05 remaining. And then Stroud just does what CJ Stroud's done all year. 5-play drive in just 151. He finds Hutchinson, 35 yards. Keep an eye on him. I could see him being more of a factor as time goes on. And then he finds Nico Collins. Nico Collins takes it in. He had 7 catches for over 100 and a touchdown. And you're in decent shape for the to get the rock back, keep Jacksonville out of the end zone. It's 24-21. And then you're putting the ball in CJ Stroud's hands. Now, this is the problem. You force the punt, which is great, but you also kill the timeout. So you kill your second timeout of the half. So now it's all or nothing. There's not like some sort of long shot chance where if you don't convert, you still have a couple of timeouts. Now it's all or nothing. And you've put yourself in that situation. And the final plays before the 2-minute warning, you had CJ Stroud finding Brevin Jordan on 3rd down. He extends it, but then you had the sack for -15, which put the Texans in 2nd and 25. However, they moved the chains, but Allen gets yet another sack. This one, I think he just kind of bull rushed Laramie Tunsil and got to the quarterback. Looked like it could have been a horse collar. I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know why the horse collar is not a thing uh, when it comes to that play. Maybe not like in the NFL. I'm sure they still call it, but I just kind of looked like he got kind of drugged down there. Looked like a horse collar to me, but who knows? Then you have the Amendola 58-yard field goal, and this was the controversy. Do you go for it on 4th and 12 with CJ, or do you kick a 58-yarder with Amendola? What were you saying initially? I was saying go for it. I was saying get it closer. CJ Stroud, 4th and 12, been extending plays all day with his legs. You've seen Tank Dell. You've seen Nico, Dalton Schultz. Do you do that, or do you kick the field goal? What would you have done? Because I would have gone for it. I said it right off the top, right immediately. I said it when the decision was being made. That's what I would have done. Now, DeMeco decided not to do that, and Amendola got close. And I've heard people say, yeah, well, it was close. Man, I'm going for it. I'm going for it with CJ there. That's just me. But they decided to kick it. And appreciate you, Andy. Jordan asks, what are the odds Texans become somewhat of lamb killers the remainder of the schedule? Lamb killers. Not sure what you mean by that. CJ needed to do better at the end, to be honest. He held the ball too long. Throw it out and run another play. Tried to play hero. I disagree. I think that CJ had to run for his life a little bit more than you would like for him to. And I think a lot of times CJ Stroud was the reason that the Texans were even in this game with the way that he was making plays with his legs. So I didn't feel like this was a situation where he was holding on to the rock too long. I didn't think he was playing hero ball at all. I think he was doing what he had to do to win. I didn't look at it that way. Let's hear what DeMeco Ryans has to say. This is DeMeco Ryans following the loss here on the postgame show.
Instead of letting the offense have another shot?
Yeah, I felt like that was the right decision for us to kick the ball. It's close, didn't go in, right? We had good range from there, just didn't make the kick.
DeMeco, how tough was it not to have your timeouts for the last drive? You talk about having to use them ahead of time.
It's tough for us, not having those timeouts, having to waste them on procedural things that we need to clean up. We have to play better. All those timeouts are just self-inflicting things that we have to be better at, right? Whether it's making sure we got the right amount of people on the field, right? Getting the calls in quicker, getting to the line of scrimmage quicker. We just have to be better. Yeah, the explosive plays, you can't have them, right? You give up explosive plays, it equals points, and that's what happened. We gave them too many explosives on defense, right? They beat us on a couple plays, good plays by them. We didn't execute the details of our job. When you don't execute versus a really good team, that's what happens.
It seemed that there was a lot of plays that were off script for CJ. What do you think was the biggest reason why you guys seem to not be on schedule in rhythm, everything felt like backyard football?
Yeah, credit to Jacksonville for their defense. I think they mixed it up really well. Credit to those guys. They played well up front. Coverages, they were tight. And we got to play better up front. Got to protect it better. All right, we got to run the ball better, and it all starts up front. We weren't the best team up front today on the offense or the defensive line. We weren't the best teams, and that's the reason why we didn't win this game.
Coach Ray, obviously some questionable calls, that's going to come up. Primarily against Javier in coverage. It appeared that maybe Coach Peterson was putting him in some compromising situations. Just your observation of how Javier performed in those circumstances, especially with Desmond being activated. Thought about interchanging them or just schematically what you saw in those situations?
TT was good. He was in good position on a lot of those things. We'll take a look at the film and see, what it should have been.
This, of course, was for first place in the AFFC South. I guess, how do you put into words that? Did this feel like a missed opportunity at all, or how are you viewing it?
Not a missed opportunity for us. It's one that, of course, we didn't play our best. And as I told our guys, you don't play your best, you don't execute versus a good team, this is what happens, right? There's no need to hold our head or sulk about anything. Like, we got to do something about it when we're out there on the field, right? We got to execute. We got to play better. You play better, you'll win the game. And today we didn't deserve to win because we didn't play good enough.
Could you talk about his play at the end of the first half when they went for it and made the stop? Did you think that was going to give you the momentum to take over the lead, which you did in the second half?
And that stop at the end of the half, that was a really big play for us. Felt the energy from the defense. Felt like that should get us some momentum, get moving there. Then we come back out the second half. We allowed them to convert on third down, and they just continued to drive. And, for us to win this game, we knew we had to be better. We had to win third down. And, of course, they were better on third down than we were.
Hey, Coach, I know it's still early, but is there anything you can share about Titus Howard, and what did you think about the debut of Juice?
Yeah, we're still evaluating Titus. We'll get more information on him as the week goes along. And Juice, I thought he stepped in. He did a good job of being ready to go.
Well, DeMeco, did the Jaguars do anything that you didn't expect, or was it just a lack of execution?
Just execution for us, nothing that we didn't expect. It was just execution, and that's what it comes down to, right? tight divisional game, all right, we have to execute better.
All right, that's DeMeco Ryans. We'll probably hear more from him a little bit later on. But yeah, that's just what happens with the Texans. We go to execution, all that type of stuff. Whatever. That's just kind of where DeMeco is. Let's back up where DeMeco was there. Hear what he had to say. We'll also hear from CJ in a sec. All right, that's enough of DeMeco. Let's go to CJ Stroud. Another chance to be heroic. Here's what CJ had to say. We got CJ Stroud. Here it is. Here in the on the postgame show.
But do you feel like y'all had missed opportunities before that got to that point?
First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It was a great Jacksonville team. We fought hard, but and to answer your question, I mean, you can't put the last play of the game, supposedly, or if it is or if it's not, you can't put the whole game on that situation. We got to be cleaner, execute better. First half, I felt like we came out second half, moved the ball pretty well. But we gotta play complementary football, offense, defense. We gotta help each other out. So it's a great one to learn from. But no, you don't want to lose a close game like that. And it's tough to put it all on the kicker's hand and everything. I think Matt has done a great job, and we got to put him in better situations. Maybe get closer, or even go try to score a touchdown and win the game. So a lot of different things that could happen and play out a different way.
What is it like for you to know that your team can full confidence no matter the situation?
Man, it's amazing. That's all you want as a quarterback, and especially being a rookie. There's a lot of veterans on this team, and the way they look at me before we go out there, or just any play at practice, however, wherever we're at, they always give me that confidence, and they show me that they really do trust in me, and I trust them right back. So it's definitely helpful, and it gives me a lot of confidence. So I appreciate those guys fighting for me, and I'm fighting right for them.
CJ, what did the Jags do today differently than they did from the first time you played against them?
They really didn't do too much. Actually, they sent some pressure, but not as much as they did early on. They got us a couple of times in some weird fronts with some pressure looks, and I got to be better with throwing the ball high and things like that. But they really didn't do much different. They're a sound team. They're up front. Josh Allen and Walker set the tone, and they did a good job stopping the run today. And we got to just be better execution. We got to fight. We got to be dogs out there. And we had a glimpse of it. We had a lot of good things, but not good enough to win. So got to go back to the drawing board and find out what happened, and then go move on and play this tough Denver team and get a win there.
Go ahead. Sorry, just go ahead. Nico was saying, in years past, a loss at this point is kind of another loss for this team. But right now, this loss hurts. What does that say about this team going forward, that this does hurt at this stage of the season?
It's a long season, man. I don't think it hurts us like that. Like, of course, yeah, divisional, you want to win the game, and it hurts us pretty significant, man. It's about a mindset, though. Like, what we gonna do? Not play no more? Like, we gonna just tuck our tail and not play hard? Like, nah, I don't really believe in that type of mindset. I'm going out there every play, every game, trying to win. So I don't really think that our season's over at all. It's a long year. We have 6 more games to play, 7 more games to play. Like, it's a lot more football left, and you can see the trajectory we're on. We're taking strides, but we got to play complementary football. We got to play for the offense. We got to help the defense. Defense got to help the offense. And special teams have to do their job too. So there's a lot of things we can learn from, but I think we're at where we're at, and the sky's the limit still. There's no confidence taken away in this loss. We're going to learn from it. We're going to get better. We're going to go get a dub.
You had a couple of impressive plays where you're extending the play, escaping the rush. You also had a couple of impressive scrambles. How do you balance that in your mind? Obviously, things are probably moving a million miles per hour in the moment, but you've done a pretty good job of determining when to throw the football on the field.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I try to do my best to keep my O-line honest, moving the pocket really well. And when it's time to scramble and get some yards, try to go get some yards. And feel like I try to do that as much as possible today. Got a couple good runs, but at times and sometimes I don't need to scramble. But it's tough when they're towards the end, especially they're dropping 8, rushing 3, and they're really covering a lot of the zones, taking away some of the short stuff and backing up. So we take away the deep stuff. So my job is to try to make a play, and I feel like I did that as many times as I could. Credit to those guys in Jacksonville. It's a great team. They have a great defense from D-line all the way to DBs to the backers. Communicate very well, and I mean, at the end of the day, we got to lick our chops and lick our wounds and understand like it is what it is, and we got to be better. So I got to go out there and make some more plays on my end, and but this isn't the end. We'll be better.
Where do you see growth in this team from the beginning of the year to now? Because Stroud is a close football team.
Yeah, we're brothers, man. I don't. It was one of the things that coming from Ohio State, man. Like that's our motto is the brotherhood, and I didn't know if it would be like that in the NFL, but honestly, it is. It's quite the same. Of course, guys have kids and things like that, and but really, we're hanging out a lot together. We're always together, of course, in the building, and we actually hang out away from the building. And Case and Davis in my room have been amazing to me. A lot of guidance, a lot of confidence building, a lot of honesty, and really just a lot of just life skill building from them being older than me and helping me out in certain situations on the field and off. So this team is really close, and that's the thing about losing in this league. I told them in the locker room, like, there's only 2 things: it's you either win, or you learn. And we have the mindset in there that we're gonna learn from this, and we're gonna be better.
Appreciate CJ again. Another historic performance by you today. The passing yards from rookie through 11 games and all of that. But think about like philosophically how you go about attacking the defense, right? All the praise goes when you take the deep shots down to your 50 yards and all that. What is Bobby Slowik and Gerard Johnson and DeMeco game plan? Are you learning to appreciate the check down and the things in the intermediate as much as the glory that comes with pushing the ball down?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've taken steps from all the way from OTAs to training camp of like you get so excited, you get the play call, oh damn, we got a shot. Like I'm gonna do my best to make it work. But if it's not there, just being smart. The worst thing you can do in this league is play behind the chain. So my job is to, even if it's not the best look against a certain play call, my job is to make Bobby always right, make this team always right, and whoever has the ball in their hand, and most of the time it's me. Like I'm really feeding other people's family. Like I can either lose them money or make them money. So I just try to be smart with that. But it's a controlled aggression that I have, and I feel like today I try to do my best with that. They took away really all our deep shots, and thought I did a good job of making plays and taking check downs and just playing the game honest. But we got to be better on third down if we're going to live like that. So a lot of things that we need to work on and things like that. But I'm enjoying the process of the game, and I'm not going to be bored by taking check downs and stuff.
Time for 3 more. Ari, Cody, and DJ.
CJ, it felt like there was more scrambling, more running, more escaping from you today. How much of that was built-in game plan stuff? How much of it was the pressure, and how much of it was just situational?
Really all 3. It's a players' league. I got to go out there and make plays, and sometimes when it's not there down the field, sometimes they get you. Like they're in the NFL too. I mean, they get paid, and they cover us up pretty well. And it's my job to extend the play. I think we did a good job in scramble drill. I know towards the back end, we're a little tired out there, so we weren't really moving well. And I feel like we can definitely be better at scramble drill. Got to work on some things in that. But the off-schedule stuff isn't always coached. It's kind of like just go out there and play and make a play. Don't make a bad play worse, or go out there and just have fun. That's how I think about it. I mean, I'm going out there with my brothers, and we're going to go play ball like we're playing in the backyard when things don't go as planned. So some of it is planned, some of it's not, but I feel like we took strides in that area today, and that's something you see around the league from Mahomes to Burrow to Josh Allen to really all over the league. Those guys do really well in scramble drill. I think we took a step to that today.
As Stan said earlier, you did become the first quarterback, throw for the most passing yards through the first 11 games of the rookie season. And again, throughout the entire year, you made a plethora of plays. What does it mean to week after week you continue to show up, play at a high level, and produce for your squad?
It's a blessing, man. I mean, I honestly, like, for me, everything always goes back to my faith, my family. Like, they give me a lot of freedom and to really hone in on my job. And this isn't college. Like, this is a job. Like I was talking to Brady on the podcast. He had a great sense of he had a great word of advice from me, just like, man, this is your job. Like, people depending on you. And I've luckily had that feel like that blessing on my life since I've been young. And I feel like it's been a blessing just to work hard every week. I wake up every day like, man, I'm in the NFL. Like, man, this is a blessing. Like, I know we lost today, and I'm up here smiling, man, because I'm living my dream. And it's not always gonna be perfect. God never said it was gonna be, but at the end of the day, like, I know that He wouldn't put nothing on me that I can't handle or this team can handle. So it's been a blessing to come out here and work hard and really see like the city of Houston. Like, me and my mom got to give back for Thanksgiving, and like, there's hope in the city. And I'm not saying it's just the Texans or anything like that, but like, that means something to these people. And that's what it's really about. It's not about me and breaking records. That stuff will come if it comes, but it's really about helping people and sending hope and inspiring people. So appreciate y'all. God bless.
All right, there you go. That's CJ Stroud addressing the media. There's little talk in here. Not a ton. There's a little bit of talk in here. He's holding on to the ball too long. I just don't know how you can watch this game and say, you know what? CJ Stroud really needed to be better. I'm sure there's like a fine line between holding on to the ball too long and getting rid of it quicker. But if you look at the offensive line that is in front of him and what he's done all season long and how close they were to winning this game and some of the plays that he's made, I just don't understand how anyone could have watched that game. And then look, everybody watches it different. Everybody has opinions. That's why we talk about it. But I don't see how anyone can watch that game and say, man, CJ needs to do this. I think that's silliness. I think that's just silliness to say that. Now, as far as the kicking thing goes, I don't know if they're going to be in the market for a new kicker or not. I said on Monday during our confession segment that I was worried about the Texans not having Fairbairn in this game. Ended up kind of paying off a little bit. Look, when you lose your starting kicker, even some starting kickers aren't good. But when you go, the Texans have had to go. Like, some of the under the radar injuries that the Texans have had, they've had to go 4 weeks without their punter, and now they're going 4 weeks without their kicker. Who knows if it's going to just be 4 weeks? And I don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about some female kicker or something like that. I don't know how this is becoming a topic. Like, that's what we're doing right now? What is going on in these comments? What are y'all doing? This is just weird. But yeah, maybe they can find a new kicker. But yeah, I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about. Whatever. But I don't know how you can watch this game and say CJ Stroud was a problem. I do wonder what they're going to do about the run game. I think there's a line between playing bad run defenses and good run defenses and just completely abandoning the run. I don't think this was a game where Devin Singletary should have 6 carries and Dameon Pierce have 5. I don't think that should ever be the case. So I don't know what Bobby Slowik was doing, what was going on. I think they got to balance that out. Now, the good news is the Texans are in a mix right now at 6-5. Now they're on the outside of the playoff picture, but the 3 teams ahead of them: Cleveland at 7-3, Pittsburgh at 7-4, and Indy at 6-5. Damn, the Colts are having an under the radar, really good season. Shout out to Shane Steichen and what he's doing there. But the Texans they got a game against Cleveland on Christmas Eve, and then they got a game against Indianapolis at the end of the year. And they've also got games with teams that are right on there, right behind them, in the Jets and the Broncos. So there's a lot of opportunity for the Texans there to still make the wild card. The division, that's going to be a long shot, but make the wild card is where we're looking at right now. So we'll see what happens here with the Texans kicking situation. Got to kind of figured it out. But the Jags, they got the dub. Referees holding on to the ball too long, coaching, yada, yada, yada. Put it in the comments, whatever you think it is. I'll be on the air tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, Sports Radio 610, the Odyssey app. Exclusive interview on Thursday with a Texans player. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Y'all can talk amongst yourself. Y'all are being crazy today. Losing makes us all nuts. Fortunately, it's not the norm, though, for the Texans. Always remember, though, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in this together. Thanks for coming in the locker room.
Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the